Yes, good afternoon everybody. Welcome to the BFL Footy Show for another week. Proudly supported by McDonald's Ballarat and also Ballarat Toyota. Shawnee, a bit of a different landscape today, mate.
Yeah, a little bit, mate.
Drop at the back of us, mate.
Changed things up a little bit. We've had the change of people on the show in the last couple of weeks. We thought we'd change the scenery a bit today as well, with obviously City Oval behind us, with the centre square just been painted for Indigenous Round this week.
Great initiative that, and the Indigenous luncheon that took place today at Saxon House, a really good luncheon, and really celebrated that the strong Indigenous, I suppose, representation of all clubs, and they play a really important role within football and netball in the region, and for clubs to be able to recognise those people this round is really good.
Oh, they certainly do, and obviously a great round to get behind. And you're right, the luncheon here at Saxon House was great today. We probably had 80 odd people in attendance, and a celebration of Indigenous football and netball throughout the region. Kudos to the Daly Footy Club as well, wearing a special Indigenous jumper in their game against North City this week. You can see it on the screen at the moment. It looks pretty good.
Looks really good, yeah. Well done to the Daly Footy Club for that initiative. Moving on to this weekend's game, Shawnee, Ballarat play Melton at the Alfred Oval. You think Ballarat should be able to record their first win for the year?
You think they should, but I'm not so convinced, because I still reckon Melton are a pretty good side. They start well, but they can't run out games at the moment. Now, I've heard some people tell me it's because they've got the bigger bodies and they mightn't have the fitness bases yet.
Yep.
I also have had people tell me that they haven't got out of first gear yet so far this year. They've played in spits and spurts so far. They've had a week now to get over that. They've obviously had the time. I think they can beat Ballarat tomorrow, who are pretty good. It needs to be said, against Bacchus Marsh before the break. And Shane's Contra and Adam Sewell, probably the two happiest blokes on the Eastern Oval after the Interleague win last week, because it was their first win for the season.
Definitely. Daly take on North Ballarat City down Daly Park. No doubt this is, for me, it's the biggest game of the weekend. A really big test for Daly to show that they can match it with probably the best side in the competition. There's a lot been spoken about Daly and how they're going to be a big threat this year. I think they'll be very hard to beat as the season goes into the second half of the year. But this is their first big test, I think, for the year. They obviously played Redan here a couple of weeks ago, and Redan were too good. But if they can beat North City tomorrow, it really shows that they're a real contender this year. And I think a big crowd will get along the game tomorrow.
And it'll be a tough ask as well. Daly don't have a good recent record against North City. North City absolutely wiped them in this game last year, and a few handy players coming back in for North City this week as well. I think Ryan Luke's back in, Marcus Darmody's back in, Sean Lyle's back in. So very, very handy. A lot of players coming in for North City. Look, I can't see North City losing this.
Melton South take on Sebastopol. This game's at the Melton Rec Reserve tomorrow afternoon. Probably, I think both sides will go into this game hoping to get the 4 points. Looks Sebastopol have been competitive in some games this year. I think when they can get their run and carry game going, I know Rowan Marshall's out of the team. He's a big loss for Sebastopol.
Huge loss.
But I think in saying that, though, Sebastopol's still a chance to win this game. I think it'll be very close.
Sebastopol's definitely a chance. Melton South have been decimated by injuries recently. They've got all sorts of problems on the injury front, to the point where Matthew Sutton put his hand up this week and said, if you need me, I'll play. And they seriously considered he'll probably end up playing in at least the twos, because it's Zippy Collins breaking the club record this week, which is an absolutely fantastic achievement, and Sutts wants to be there for his mate. But he said to Pedo, if you need me, I can play in the ones this week. I tell you what, if Rowan Marshall was in this, I'd be confidently picking Sebastopol to win this. Now I'm not so sure. He has been such a great player for Sebastopol this year, keeping them in games. Just got a feeling now that Melton South will win this game.
Redan take on Sunbury here at the City Oval in the ground just behind us. I think Redan's form at home has been really good so far this year. They obviously had a disappointing loss last time they played against Lake Wendouree 2 weeks ago. They've probably got 2 weeks to. They've had 2 weeks to probably iron out a few things from that game. I know they'd be very disappointed with their second half, because their first half was really good. I think they led at half time by a couple of goals. Overrun in the second half by Lake Wendouree, but getting back on their home surface against a fairly, I suppose you could say, a young, inexperienced Sunbury side, who have still played some pretty good football this year. I think Rick Hall was doing a really good job with that group, but I think Redan will be too strong at home.
Look, I think so as well, but Sunbury, they're 3-2 and they didn't lose to Lakers by much either, so they're in the ballpark. In fact, they might have even beaten the Lakers from memory, did they?
Who's that?
Did they beat the Lakers at home in the night game? I think they might have.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they did.
So it's
who were a side that's beaten Redan, obviously.
So if you stack the loss for the year.
Exactly. If you stack the form line up that way, it looks pretty good. But Redan have had a couple of weeks now to stew after that loss. They get a couple back in tomorrow, which will be really handy for them. Christian Polo out of the side might be a little bit of a downer for them, but they got plenty of midfielders. How
Yep.
good were the Redan boys in the Interleague last week?
Very good.
Nathan Horbury, the medalist. Grant Bell could have just
Curry.
deservedly won it. Cal Curry as well.
Just good, yeah. Or
Yeah,
just-
he was. All three of those could have
Played really
won
well.
the medal. So, look, Redan, but these it's always close between the Lions and the Lions.
Yep. Becca Smash take on East Point. This game played on Sunday down at Medley Park. Interesting game, this. I
It's
think.
game of the round for me.
Yeah, look at East Point. They're thereabouts, aren't they? I expect them to make the six, and these are the games they need to win. But at home, Becca Smash playing at home, I think are definitely a tough proposition. It doesn't matter where you are on the ladder. So I think that East Point will have their work cut out, but I think they'll be a fraction too strong in the end.
If this game was being played in 6 weeks' time, we'd be saying it's an 8-point game. With the way that the ladder's structured at the moment in these two teams, that look, you can probably say that North City, Lakers, Redan and Darley, you almost lock them in for your top 4,
Yep.
which leaves probably 4 or 5 teams going for 2 spots in the finals.
Yep.
These two teams want to be there. They missed out last year. Yep. They want to get in there this year, and both of them a real chance to show that they deserve to be there this year. Look for Peter Shepherd this week. Had a chat to him during the week. Absolutely chomping at the bit to get out there this weekend. Has kicked some goals this year so far. He's second on the goal kicking table at the moment. Absolutely loves the big stage. Having said that, East Point, very, very strong side all across the field. I reckon they might just sneak over the line.
Very good, Shawnee. Good preview, mate. What's your plans for the weekend, heading to a couple of games?
Yeah, might head down the highway this week and just see if Sutz does pull on the boots or not. I've got a funny feeling that he might get out there, so we'll see what happens
Hasn't been
there.
named, or?
I don't think... Well, he was named and then they took him off the list, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Might be a little bit of ducks and drakes going on, but head down that way, and then a bit of a quiet, relaxing day Sunday. Follow the East Point Back and Smash games via the live scores, I think.
Very good, Shawnee. Thanks so much for joining us on the BFL Footy Show, mate. And thank you for joining us on the BFL Footy Show for another week. Proudly supported by McDonald's Ballarat and also Ballarat Toyota. Have a good weekend. Goodbye for now.